Warning, warning. Two idiots are reading the SCP files over the intercom. Please, wait further instructions. Oh, jeez, oh, God. Welcome back to Discovering SCP, Episode 2. So we got a lot of good responses from our first episode. What's wrong?
All the last episodes were just episode 1. It was like
that was a dream.
Like the omnibus.
That was a dream you were having. You woke up from your dream and someone was like, "Viewer, why are you crying?" I just had a really
So all those
sad
SCPs
dream.
weren't real. The only ones that were real were Peanut, the anti-memetic thing, and the stairway.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of trouble getting new SCPs because there's nothing like a wiki or anything for these. You have to go on 4chan and just sort of search them up on the paranormal board. I managed to get a few posts that I think we can read through.
Okay, cool.
So
I actually found a place where you can find some SCPs as well. I know
yeah?
I wasn't supposed to be digging around, but I heard of this site called Creepypasta.
the Creepypasta wiki!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Someone was asking me, by the way, are we ever going to do that again? Because that sounds really fun. Because in my opinion, a bad creepypasta is more fun to read than a bad SCP article.
Yeah. Unless it's a really bad SCP article.
Yeah. Because like the format kind of makes the SCP article more stringent, whereas like creepypastas, it's just like so comically bad.
I'm fucking eyeless Jack. I don't know what happens to your organs. I'm sorry. Was it Iris Jack? I don't remember what the fuck that was.
He like ate his kidney or something, or his liver.
Yeah. And the doctor just sort of shrugged it like, it's gone.
Yeah, he just looked at the scar and was like, oh, I'm sorry to say this.
It's,
Glad he was kind enough to eat a non-vital organ. Alright, anyway,
yes.
Yeah, sorry, fuck. How many SCP do we have?
How many SCPs? We have 1, 2, 3. And I prepare them weeks in advance for this one, so you're going to enjoy this episode.
Yeah, okay. What? I saw you scrambling because you had another repeat you told me.
You didn't see anything because I just took your eyes because I am eyeless Jack.
What is this voice?
What do you mean?
I am eyeless Jack. It's like some sort of fucking weird French
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're like Hermione.
That's exactly
it. Sorry, but you don't know any good spells.
That's exactly what it fucking is. A fucking Hermione Granger impression. For some fucking reason.
Harry, let me fix those glasses for you. Shing!
Perfectly balanced. Like all things should be.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. It's Hermione. That's the voice.
Swish and flick. I'll kill you, Malfoy. Her famous
Hermione
line.
being chuny is so good. Oh my god.
I'm going to tweet this out
Swish and flick, I'll kill you, Malfoy. Anyway, fuck. We have to read a thing. Give me a link.
Oh yeah, SCP. You've heard of these? So this is SC. Oh fuck.
Sometimes I wish we could do a podcast episode that's all bits.
Why not? We control this. Maybe one day I'll come on and say, we have no SCPs, let's just talk. How have you been?
Discovering bits.
SCP-3078. This is called Cognito Hazardous Shitpost, and it's by username alias.
Name alias. With that article name, I would have thought it would be Uranium Empire or something.
Well, it's not.
Sounds like the type of thing she'd make. What is this?
But let's get into it. Item number. SCP-3078. Object class, neutralized. Special containment procedures. As all known SCP instances have been neutralized and long-term containment of the SCP is not possible, only preventative measures are currently in place. Foundation web crawlers, like Spider-Man, are to scan the internet for criteria indicating possible SCP manifestations. Upon detection, Foundation hackers will attempt to remove all instances as fast as possible. No testing is performed at this time. I'm in. What do you think so far? What could it be?
I don't know. It looks like it's an online thing. And be based on the shitpost, I assume it's like some sort of meme virus.
Interesting. Description. SCP-3078 designates one or more self-replicating cognitohazardous digital images. When a human being views an instance of the SCP, the subjects will feel an intense compulsion to laugh for an indefinite amount of time. Subjects will not be able to inhale during this period, and affected subjects have expired due to suffocation in all cases. After expiration, face muscles will still retain a smile, and lungs will still move as if expelling air in short, quick bursts. This is what happens when you listen to a banger episode of Discovering SCP.
when you listen to the bowler bit.
Once every hour, all SCP instances will duplicate by undergoing a carnet event, which is described below. Deleting the data of the instance from the web server.
Event.
Deleting the data of the instance from the web server it's stored on will neutralize the instance and cease its anomalous properties. Digital and physical copies of any form of instances will not display anomalous effects. After initial manifestation...
Wait, but does that mean if you delete the image, you could save someone who's currently in the process of laughing to death?
If you've seen it. If you've seen it, that's it.
But how do you delete it?
Well, you delete the original. You just don't look at it. After initial manifestation of the SCP, the appearance of all images was reported to change 6 times prior to total neutralization. All iterations of the SCP can be found below.
Alright, so we have some Connard events here.
So they'll occur once every hour, granted there is at least one SCP instance in existence. For every SCP instance in existence, one profile or user account will be created on a random public forum or social media platform capable of hosting images for other users to view. IP tracing of these accounts uses a different, non-existent IP address each time.
That probably possible? Just means they're using a VPN or a dynamic IP.
But it's like anomalous, so it's a ghost. Account usernames are always random combinations of the numbers 69 and 420. Each account will post one instance of the SCP on the website. If tags/hashtags can be applied to the post, the phrases 420, don't do weed, and meme will be used.
Why would you have 420 and don't do weed? Make up your mind, SCP.
Yeah, this is actually quite unrealistic, and actually, I don't even think the SCP things are fucking real. Damn,
Damn, you ruined it for me, Hermione. Fucking Hermione explains.
Is that a real spell? I don't think that's a real spell. So this fat cat orange, I don't even fucking remember what Ron says. The first documented instance of the SCP was posted to imgur.com on 2/3/2017, 2nd of the 3rd, 2017. I said that like a crazy person. Since the spread of the SCP is superficially similar to the spread of non-anomalous viral images, the SCP did not trigger Foundation cognitohazard detection software for 15 hours. Approximately 2 hours after initial detection, the SCP was classified as Keter, and containment efforts began. The SCP instances numbered 1 through 1072 at this time. That's crazy. That's a crazy number.
Why didn't they just create a web crawler to delete them?
Well, they did, I guess. As Foundation personnel could not reasonably remove all images covertly before the next Carnot event, intrusive hacking methods were improved. Shortly after, amnestics were deployed where appropriate, and Foundation disinformation campaigns attributed the deaths to gas leaks and suicides. Neutralization of all instances was achieved on the 2nd of the 4th, 2017. Casualties.
So it's already it's neutralized.
Yeah, it's neutralized. Casualties from the SCP currently measure.
I forgot about that.
3,576 civilians and 2 Foundation personnel. Damn.
So it only lasted a day.
Yeah, it was a brief thing. Why don't you have a look at the iterations? Why don't you read these?
When you inhale the devil's Mary Jane smoke. Oh no.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, I really didn't. I just forgot to make it so where they can breathe. If you're reading this, please, you government guys have to stop it. You guys can do it, right? Please. I just thought it was funny. It was just supposed to be a stupid joke. I thought they would let me into the chat room if I made a good meme or something. Please just hurry up and stop it. I can't... Why is this like... Why are they being such a loser? I am shaking so bad. Please, I can't even type right now. Just fix it. I'm so sorry. All my friends are dead and they're still laughing.
That's what happens when you succumb to peer pressure online. That's the moral.
I love how this just sounds like when a kid like gets really upset on the internet and they start cry typing. Like I can't take it seriously. Like I don't know if this is supposed to make me feel at the end here, but this is just a funny to me. It did its job. It was a funny.
Yeah.
I'll give this one like a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
It's not
6 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny. It's cute. There's not really much to it, but not every SCP needs to be a grand story. So I think a 6 out of 10 is good, though. How do you feel?
It's a little funny one for me as well. Yeah, I do the cry typing. I do agree with you there. It's very difficult to take that seriously.
Yeah, I can't tell if the author intended that and it was like clearly supposed to be funny, or if they were like trying to make it serious at the end. It was just a failed attempt. I can never take anyone serious when they do like the over dramatic cry typing.
I couldn't say.
Alright, and this was by who again?
This was by
Username Alias.
Username Alias. So thank you for this. If you are still around, I don't think I've ever spoken with username alias, but I might be mistaken. I've spoken with a lot of people. So SCP is the next one. Is SCP-3318. This one is by HazardousToast, and it's called "Can You See Me?"
Can you see me, huh? Well, I can't see you right now. You don't have your webcam on.
Oh. And the "Can you see me?" that's in all
answers that
caps.
question. Oh, is that important?
I don't know. I just thought I'd note it because otherwise you'd just see it otherwise.
I'd assume it's all lowercase.
Well, you'd assume it's like properly punctuated. I would imagine. I would hope.
Thank God I know it's in all caps. I don't know what I would do if it was punctuated normally. Completely change my opinion.
Item number SCP-3318. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. The SCP is
currently... Why do you say Euclid normal? I feel like at this point...
I just said useless.
I know. It's Euclid. Say it normal.
No.
I'm genuinely wondering, you've said it so many times like that, I don't think you can say Euclid anymore. Like,
Euclid.
Your default is Euclid now.
Euclid.
Euclid.
Fucking Christopher Walken. Euclid.
It's like a struggle. Euclid.
Special containment procedures. The SCP is currently contained in a 15 meter by 15 meter by 30 meter off-site containment bunker located 25 kilometers away from Site 10. No personnel to enter the SCP's active range under any circumstances. Any personnel who do enter the SCP's active range are to be terminated immediately. With a footnote, while this is regrettable, no alternative means to be found to effectively neutralise the threat posed by individuals compromised by the SCP.
I think you could just remove the "while this is regrettable" part, because that implies that the Foundation has any conscience whatsoever.
1 D-Class personnel to be present in a cell adjacent to the SCP's containment bunker and must be the individual in closest proximity to the SCP at all times. However, they are under no circumstances to enter its active range. Description. SCP...
Is it like a stand? Is it like you have to get within its range and it activates?
Let's find out.
That's my guess right now for what it is. Some kind of stand or stand-like creature.
SCP-3318 is, at the time of writing, the collective designations for the corpses of 7 humans and 1 skinned cat.
I was dead wrong.
Which cannot be separated by any known means. The organic matter that comprises the SCP does not appear to age or decay, and damage it has proven extremely difficult, although not impossible, allowing containment staff to keep it as a manageable size. The SCP's primary anomalous properties manifest when an individual enters its active range, which at the time of writing extends 7 meters around it. Any individual who enters active range will immediately become compromised. After this, a consciousness believed to originate from the SCP will have complete control of the affected individual's perception of all written text. The primary objective of the SCP appears to be convincing or tricking the compromised individual into saying that they can see it. Testing has revealed that even highly ambiguous wordings of this sentiment are treated as valid by the SCP. Or
like, hey, do you see that over there? Or I can view it.
Yeah. Or otherwise acknowledging the SCP's existence visually. In order to accomplish this, the SCP will use its influence over the victim's perceptions to alter the text that they read, often using this ability to impersonate messages from figures of authority or loved ones. Upon compromisation, the SCP appears to gain...
Sorry, no, finish that sentence, sorry.
The SCP appears to gain limited knowledge about notable individuals in the victim's life, often including aforementioned authority figures and loved ones.
So when you're in the range, all it does is change how you see things.
Well, once you're in the range, you're compromised, and then it can get you wherever you are.
But it doesn't do anything to you until you say you can see it. It just can trick everything you see around you.
Everything written, yeah.
Yeah, reading, sorry.
However, these attempts are often clumsy and borderline incoherent, as the SCP does not appear to have the intellectual capacity to accurately impersonate such individuals. When a victim confirms that they can see SCP-3318, this does not have to be true. Simply making such a statement as, I can see it, regardless of context, is enough to activate the SCP. Through any means, the nearest human being to the SCP is instantly propelled towards it at extremely high speeds, invariably killing them before or upon impact. Their corpse then becomes attached to the others comprising the SCP and becomes part of the object.
Wait, so are all the corpses fused together? I thought they were, separate.
They're all fused together, it said it. Which cannot be separated by any known means, it says.
Okay, so it doesn't launch one of the corpse people. It launches the nearest other human into the person who said they can see it. And then
into the SCP.
Launch person... Oh. So it's not even the person who says they can see it. It's just whoever's closest at the time. Yeah.
That's why I have a D class.
Oh, that's so fucked up. That's funny.
The corpse then becomes attached to the others comprising the SCP and becomes part of the object. Note that this anomalous effect has no correlation with the SCP's active range. An individual will be propelled towards the SCP regardless of distance, so as long as they're the closest one to it in the world, I guess. Even after acknowledging the SCP, a compromised individual will remain compromised, and every time they acknowledge the SCP, another individual will be propelled towards it.
What happens if there are like two equidistant people?
I don't know. The world explodes. The bird emerges.
See.
It is believed that the SCP grows more intelligent, as well as expands its active range, every time a corpse is added to its mass. Upon initial discovery, the SCP would only change text to read, "Can you see me?" over and over again, but adopted its current behaviour after the first deaths occurred as a result of its properties. The SCP was first discovered after an anomalous tip led a recovery team to a location in the woods near the town of Grob, Nevada, where the SCP, at the time comprising the fused corpses of one human and one skinned cat, had been placed by an unknown party. Says anonymous tip.
Wait, so does it not even need to be a human body? Because there's a cat in it. It says killing the nearest human being. Or do you think the cat was the original?
Maybe the cat was the original, yeah. Because maybe
it's Schrodinger's cat, and that's why it's like, haha, can you see me?
Said anonymous tip provided inaccurate information to the recovery team, seemingly designed to mislead them into entering its active range and falling victim to its effects. After 2 deaths as a result of this, the SCP was successfully contained with assistance from a backup recovery team. Addendum-1.
Alright.
Dr. Marston, a member of research personnel assigned to the initial recovery team in order to perform preliminary analysis, became compromised during the recovery but survived initial contact with the SCP. Before undergoing termination, a precaution Dr. Marston agreed was necessary in order to prevent further casualties, he logged several of the messages he received from the SCP. Let's see what it has to say. "Can you see me? Respond. Respond immediately. Now you'll regret it if you don't respond immediately. I am going to skin your cat. SCP-3318 is a funny little boy with many interesting gags and surprises at his disposal. Can you see me? Can you see me? Dr. Marston of SCP, this is your wife. Can you see me, please?" SCP-3318 is Keter object capable of skinning your cats. Can you see me? Hello, I am at your house. Can you see me, or I will skin your family like a cat? Listen now, you're being very rude and nasty right now. This is 051. Can you see me? Sorry, my brother was on my account. This is the real 051. Hi, can you see it?
Sorry. Sorry, that one got me because I was like every fucking person who like sent a suspect message to someone and was like, "Oh, sorry, that was my sibling."
And then addendum 2 we have. Warning, further addendums is under maximum security clearance under command of the O5 Council. User must pass mimetic screening test to access further information. Please confirm you can see this image. We have a little collapsible here.
Ah, nice try. I'm not going to read that.
What do you mean?
There's a thing below the image. I'm not going to read it. Yeah. You want me to read it?
It's a collapsible. It's the rest of the article.
Well, when you click on it, it says, "Okay, thanks, winky face." But I didn't read it. I didn't.
You clicked. You said you can see it.
No, I didn't.
You clicked it.
Sorry for killing you off. I didn't mean to.
So, what do you think of this one?
So, it's interesting. Well, one, it's funny, obviously. But I'm curious. It says the nearest human, so that implies the cat was the OG.
Yeah, I would think
and
so,
it does have a picture of a cat here. So I'm wondering if it has anything to do with Schrodinger's cat, just because I know it's all about, like, is the cat in the box or not? Can you see it? But otherwise, I don't get the reference behind it, but it's funny. It's cute. I'll give it, like, a... Ah, crap, hang on. I accidentally X'd out of my browser when I was clicking my mouse around, like a madman.
You went flying.
Yeah. Ah! I don't know. I'll give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Somewhere around there.
Do you have any words for Hazardous Toast? Any questions about it?
Hazardous Toast. Would you prefer to be buttered or have jam spread on you?
Don't know.
Wait, this isn't by Hazardous Toast. This is by Tanhony.
I did it again!
So that's why this one sucked so much.
It's too late. You gave me the 8 out of 10.
gave you a 7. 8 was the upper limit of that.
No,
Wait, is that what it is? Is it like supposed to be Schrodinger's cat? Is that the reference?
Not really. My idea of it originally was that this is like a anomalous art piece made by some assholes, and they killed and skinned the cat to like make the core of it. And it's like the cat's mind is being used initially, but then it gets more human intelligence by grabbing more people.
Anomalous artists, huh? Well, I know an anomalous writer.
Wow. Anomalous writer, did you do this?
Anomalous would never do this. He wouldn't. Well,
and
anyway,
add another alias to the list. HazardousToast, Rapley.
I should have... See, the reason I didn't think it was you is because there wasn't a stupid nutrition chart on it. And it had all those, like,
I had
dumb,
to check
like,
to see if there was
15 by 15 by 30. It had all that shit. I was like, oh, Tan wouldn't put dumb measurements. Who cares?
You feel this was the period where I did care.
Can't believe this. I'm gonna kill you. Do you know that? Do you think this is a game?
What do you mean? This is HazardousToast's article.
You only made this 3 years ago, too.
Fucking HazardousToast.
3 years ago. Can you imagine? That's over an eighth of your life.
Almost a third of my life. I think I'm 9 years old.
Alright, well, I'm gonna downvote this one now instead of
No. So. Okay, that's malicious downvoting, and I'm gonna kill you.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that malicious. Who cares?
You have malice in your heart.
Is this like actually a bannable offense? Do I have to upvote your thing now?
You are legally required to upvote me.
Is that real? Well, hold on. It says Dark Stuff and Dan the Fellow downvoted you. So did Butt Franklin and Blowfield. A lot of people didn't like this, actually. Wait, okay, here's what's confusing. Dom Pedro the Third is here, and he is both upvoted and downvoted, somehow. What?
You know, that's
Have you seen this?
I do.
Who else downvoted this? A lot of people. Yeah, so I can downvote this. It's not malicious.
Yeah, but it's only if you don't like it. You can't downvote for the meme.
Are you dead serious? Do I actually have to?
If you liked it, you got it legally.
Are you kidding? I can't tell.
I'm serious.
Alright, if you're truly serious, I will give it a neutral vote. I'll remove the downvote. There. No, it's not there.
I won't call the cops on you.
Alright, now I'm going to downvote it again because you threatened to call the cops on me.
Okay, but now I'm going to have to actually do it. So, you know.
Yeah, we'll see about that. If I actually get banned for this, that'd be so funny.
No.
I wouldn't be able to do the podcast anymore. Sorry, guys. Mod banned me for downvoting.
We would be able to do the podcast. You just wouldn't be able to vote.
I would refuse.
You'd refuse?
I'd have to refuse on principle.
On principle? What the fuck? This guy. He just says
I'm actually giving this one a 0 out of 10 now that I know it was written by you.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I can. Whoever's keeping track on the Excel sheet, 0 out of 10 for this.
No. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
It's alright.
You're not allowed to. You can't do that. You can't do that. Stop it. Stop it. You're being silly. No.
Can you see me, Tan?
LOL. No, I can't. Get owned.
Well, if you can't see me, then you don't know that I downvoted. So
actually, I can see you. And actually, I moved 2 steps back, so now the closest guy to the stand is you.
No, actually, it's Long Lang Lin. Sorry. You have to die for my ideals.
No, can you hear the music? It means that you're owned.
What's the music? I don't hear any music. Can you perform it for me? Bum, bum, bum,
what the fuck?
You know that one?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Dum dum. Alright, how about you send me the next SCP now? And it better not be by you. I'm checking this time.
Fine. Next one is SCP.
I know you think you're being clever, but now you're just making me, like, super paranoid about every SCP we read.
I'm sorry. This is SCP-4290 by Nat Voltaic, and it's called The Child Hungers.
It's not by anyone.
Well, check it! Check it then! Check it! I don't fucking care.
This is what you fucking done. Now I gotta do this every time. Alright, it is by Nat Voltaic.
So, yeah.
I like their little avatar picture. Did they draw that? That's cool.
I don't know. Maybe they did. But let's get into it. Let's see what they wrote. Item number SCP-4290. Containment class Keta, Disruption class Amida, Risk class Critical were maxed out. Level 5 top secret. Special containment procedures.
What do you think it is?
Let's find out. All available military assets are at the site of the SCP's ceiling and are prepared to use any means necessary to neutralise the anomaly. Mobile Task Force Alpha 1, Red Right Hand, Mobile Task Force Tau 5, Samsara, and the robots.
Yeah.
And Mobile Task Force...
Near robots.
Yeah. Mobile Task Force Nu 7, Hammer Down. I don't think we've run into them before. They're basically the literal army of the SCP. They're just like a bunch of guys with tanks and shit.
Just a really large...
Yeah.
Hut. Wait, they should have brought the video game guys. They would have been so good.
I guess you can't really station them there.
You can. Just load the map up.
Yeah, but it's like they'd like drop in and then drop out like in game time. Had been outfitted with experimental paratech weaponry and are situated within the SCP's containment perimeter.
I'm sorry, I know you're like reading, but when you said that, I'm just imagining the image in the article, and it's like, where are we dropping, boys? Where's Tomato Town?
Grids of nuclear mines have been planted in the vicinity of the ceiling sites, prepared to detonate if Foundation assets are destroyed. The Dagger's Break orbital strike system has been enabled in the event of a breach past the containment perimeter. Emergency select shelters for civilians and selected Foundation personnel are being prepared in the event that containment measures fail.
I'm sorry, civilians, you said?
Yeah, the snakes. The probability of failure is undetermined.
Ugh.
What could it be?
I'm gonna guess it's a big monster in the lake.
Let's find out. Description. SCP-4290 is a Class I eschatological entity that was thaumaturgically sealed approximately 10,000 years in the past. Its seal is expected
What's eschatological?
What's eschatological? I thought he was an SCP guy.
No, I'm not making fun of your pronunciation. I'm actually asking, what is that word?
Well, I'm not Googling it, but if I were, the first result would say it means relating to death, judgment, and the final destiny of the soul and of humankind.
Oh. Oh.
But I didn't Google it. That was just in my head. That was thaumaturgically sealed.
Because I Googled it.
Well, maybe I'm just really smart and came to the same conclusion. That was thaumaturgically sealed approximately 10,000 years in the past. Its seal is expected to break in the next 7 days. Oh dear.
Oh, man.
The site of the seal
didn't age well. It's probably been more than 7 days since it was written.
No, this was written actually an hour ago.
You know what would be actually really cool? An SCP that worked like Mandem or something that could turn back time, and they just keep turning back time. Because that would also work really well in the one that they're pretending is the Scarlet King, right? Like a way to turn back time to keep buying more time to figure shit out.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
They have to just like write stuff down on their body so it travels with them. They're like the most tatted out researchers. It's like that thing in have you ever read Golden Kamuy?
I've not, no. I know what you mean though. I know enough about
like the map
it
to the
that.
treasure, but it's just like SCP notes. It's like alright, sorry, continue.
The site of the ceiling, SCP-4290-Lock, is in Kinkai Lake at a depth of 32.8 meters from the surface and is constructed from 8 beryllium bronze totems.
Oh, that's the fancy thing.
Yeah, it's the anomaly metal. The totems resemble armoured humans, engraved with networks of banishing runes and arranged onto the points of an 8-fold fractal pattern carved into the lake bed, 20 metres wide. Bursts of red light are periodically released from its centre. These have intensified in brightness over the past month. Information on SCP-4290 has been recovered from SCP-1726, which is a place in China with a lot of stuff in it, and other such anomalous record sources. We'll maybe get to that one another day. A translated excerpt on the entity from an unknown writer is below. Why don't you tell us what it says down now?
Yeah, sorry, there's like a lot of phlegm in my throat today. The child rose its 10 mouths to the heavens, stretched wide 20 arms, and ripped the umbilical cord from the sack on its head. The warriors surged to its legs, hoping to tear those newly born limbs before they could move, but from the mouths spilled torrents of darkness and dead geometries. None could flee. Reality rippled with the warriors stretching along its folds, and the darkness crunched into their skulls with flares of scarlet. The child wheezed, dragging skeletal fingers through the dead in the land around. Fingers retracted, flames burst, then subsided, wax rained, then dissolved. Then the island, its warriors, and every soul still left melted into the darkness. For 10 days the child drank it. All the world trembled.
Oh. Addendum 1, repair attempts. On the 2nd of the 8th, 2022... Oh, so this hasn't happened yet. Televisions in Qinghai Province and outlying areas abruptly displayed images of an entity matching the SCP rising over a melting cityscape, with an androgynous voice telling viewers to repair the child's locks. This was repeated in frequency, with the voice shifting to say, there is little time left, repair. Investigation led to the discovery of the SCP-lock. Efforts into finding means by which -lock could be reinforced were launched. Search of SCP-1726, undercover excursions into the Wanderer's Library. I don't remember if we got to that yet. That's a spin-off from the...
We have not.
So that's where there's have we got to Serpent's Hand? Have we discussed them ever?
A little bit.
So that's where they
not
hang
like
out.
the organization, but they've come up. Okay.
And the ruins of specific far-past civilizations found that this is not the first time the seal has needed repairs.
Actually know a very small amount about the Wanderer's Library because for some reason the SCP Foundation's Twitter keeps memeing about it and changing their name to it or interacting with another account. So I've learned very tiny bits on accident. I should probably just not follow the SCP Twitter account.
Yeah, it's fine. So, civilizations including the Erekeshans, who held out with the fake Scarlet King guy we read a little bit ago. The Jia dynasty, who we haven't got to yet, and the ancient Ortophans, who we also haven't gotten to yet, have strengthened the seals.
I love Ortothan because it sounds like someone missing a tooth saying Otosan. Ortothan.
Have strengthened the seal with sacrificial rituals and the engraving of new runes onto the totems. The last group to have performed this were the Davites, shortly before their culture was destroyed C-270. So we've got some lore drops there. The Foundation Department of Occult Containment arranged for the rites and engravings to be formed. A submersible contained the ritual setup, requiring 3 human cadavers and the live heart of an angel.
Do you ever wonder if in the future in universe there will be a different group that contains anomalies and the Foundation will be referred to these past civilizations?
Yeah, as a precursor.
Yeah.
It could be interesting. So the requirements for the ritual were 3 human cadavers and the live heart of an angel. The materials would vanish on ritual completion. And remotely operate underwater vehicles, ROVs, with carving equipment to set... You right?
Yeah, I got lost in the footnote for a second, but then I realized you were reading the footnote. I was like, where are these words he's saying coming from?
I'm possessed by the child. With carving equipment descended to the centre of -lock on the 9th of the 8th, 2022. However...
So do they already know how to fix it?
Yeah, they have the instructions, I guess.
Okay, cool.
However, halfway through performance of the ritual, a red light burst accompanied with the release of high levels of gamma radiation and heat occurred. Radiation damage caused the ROVs to accidentally damage existing runes, and the interruption led to only 2 cadavers and half the heart to vanish as planned. Television broadcast repeated later that day, its voice now stating, the sacrifice did not reach the 10 Moors. Brace.
Wait, what?
It didn't go right.
Who were they trying to sacrifice?
The cadavers.
Oh. But...
They messed it up. Addendum 2. 15/08/2022 defection incidents. At 0100 hours, several personnel stationed at Qinghai Lake acted against Foundation orders and fled the area. One of the involved agents, Agent Zenova Marinos, led the following message on a piece of paper in their quarters before leaving. Do you want to read the note?
Sorry, there's a lot of phlegm in my throat. Do we think we can actually stop this? No civilization before us wanted to fight the child. None of them. Hell, Xia had tech better than anything we've got, and even they were afraid. The sacrifices won't work anymore. It refuses to consume them. They aren't enough to satiate it. Once that seal breaks, we'll have a world of molten darkness, and the child will be all that's left. Eating. Drinking. You're fools for staying. The activation of ways to extra-dimensional spaces was detected nearby. Tracking is not considered a priority.
Addendum 3. Sealing update 16/08/2022. Seismometers have detected a series of high-energy seismic pulses radiating from directly under the SCP-lock, consistent with models on the effects of dimensional distortion on terrain. Red light now encompasses the entire sealing site and the totems are observed to be crumbling. Personnel are advised to wait and prepare. Me petting my cats in the moments before the child awakens. It's our last moments together.
No.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh. File revised.
Send it to me.
Displaying new afterwards. Displaying new additions. Addendum 4. Scenario 4290/unlock. On 17/08/2022, the totems comprising -lock disintegrated. Military assets assembled at the shore of King High Lake, and 10 minutes later, a 40-metre-long emaciated humanoid organism, matching descriptions of the SCP, phased out of the ground and onto the seabed. Orders were sent to only fire once activity was observed. Personnel waited 2 hours. After a further hour of waiting, ROVs were sent to the SCP, followed by an expeditionary crew equipped with Lambda model formateur hazard suits. Dozens of human corpses and hearts used in the sacrificial repair ritual rested on the entity's mouths, none having been consumed. No formic radiations, side wave emissions, or any other signs of activity were registered. All life function in the SCP had ceased. In-site autopsies were performed. Based on these, the entity is estimated to have died approximately 9,000 years ago. The cause of death was determined to be malnutrition.
Wait, did it not have enough eating, or what?
It was too hungry, it just died of hunger.
It had too many mouths.
Reclassified to
That's
neutralized.
so funny. And it was sealed, 10,000 years ago?
Yeah, so it died, 1,000 years in.
That's super funny. People just sacrificed all these years, all this shit. That's a really
It's
funny.
like throwing shit at a
Fuck, that was
corpse.
good. I like that a lot. I was in my head, I was like, is this related to the Scarlet King or whatever? Is this a blah, blah, blah? That was well played. And I like how they put, all that danger shit first, right? They don't spoil it, kind of like what you did with Amogus Wrath with the neutralized at the end. That's cool. All right, upvote for me, that's a 10 or 11 out of 10. I like that. I like that a lot.
Nice.
This was way better than that stupid cat one.
It's too late. You already gave me a 9 out of 10 on that one too. Because if I go by
I also
the
downvoted it, so...
You downvoted? Malicious downvote?
Is it malicious or do you just suck? What was
malicious?
malicious was you lying about this.
You have malice in your
Hazardous
heart?
Toast.
You're malice?
That was malicious.
You're malicious?
Maybe if you hadn't lied, I wouldn't have downvoted it, but you lied to me. So.
Well, we have one SCP left because these are a bit shorter than I realised, so I grabbed another one while we were doing that.
Oh, this guy. Wow, planned in weeks in advance, huh?
You're pissing me off. This one is back in time a bit. This is SCP-872. It's called The Tattered Farmer by King on the Tower.
When are you going to send me that meme?
After the episode.
Alright. Oh, this is a good short one. I like the picture. It's
Yeah,
like a
little
scarecrow.
dessert. So yeah, a picture of a scarecrow. Which
Wait, who's this by?
King in the Tower.
Well! Well! Little... What is this, 15-year-old Tanhony?
I went by King in the
Hello?
Tower back then in my head.
What?
King in the Tower, that was my nickname back then. So I wasn't lying.
What? No, Tanhony.
No,
15-year-old Tanhony too. Over a third of his life ago, guys. So let's all listen intently to what he has to say. How old are you now? 25?
Yeah. Item number SCP-872. Object class A. Special containment procedures. When not under controlled observation, the SCP... Okay?
What was that anomalous object class you said?
The SCP is to be kept in cold storage at Sector 9. The SCP is to be kept 2 kilometers from any concentrated group of animals considered livestock at all times.
Wow, look at this guy repeating his numbers.
When under
I'm not gonna
controlled
let this
observation, a perimeter is to be established outside this observation area and research to seize immediately in the event of an attempted containment breach. 10. Members of
10.
security are to be present during controlled observation to enforce this. Controlled observation must be approved by one member of level 4 personnel. Well, I've been doing it too.
Wait, do you mean level 4 personnel?
No, that's ridiculous. Description. The SCP is an aged scarecrow outfitted with a tattered coat and hat, measuring 3 meters tall and 10 centimeters wide. Why are you repeating it? We're saying it 4 times now.
Yeah, just really need to emphasize it.
SCP is composed of pine wood, splinters of which have not displayed its anomalous properties. When animals considered livestock, sheep, cows, chickens, etc., enter the area within 1.5 kilometers of the SCP, they're immediately affected by its anomalous properties.
This is what I love about how vaguely this is worded. And granted, this was Series 1, so there wasn't as much weirdo shit. But with all the reality bending and conceptual shit in SCP now, you could interpret that sentence to mean if you could get people to collectively consider something livestock, it would work on them.
SCP affected me good, yeah. That is how it would work. The SCP affected animals are extremely hostile to humans and will viciously assault any who approach them. Affected animals have been
evil, so scary.
Affected animals have been observed to utilize advanced maneuvers such as flanking and ambushing. Wow, I was a fucking idiot. Animals know how to do this.
There's like a sheep with an eye patch and like a map. It's like playing Warhammer.
Affected animals have also been observed to behave as if in automated farm environments. Chickens will lay their eggs in easy-to-access areas. Sheep will attempt to remove wool from each other using their teeth. Cows have been observed to kill one cow each week and roughly separate its carcass into strips of meat.
This is so spooky.
Each month, the animals will transport anything produced to the perimeter of SCP-872's areas of influence and allow humans to remove it from the area. When removed from the SCP's
area... they're angry against humans, but they help humans as long as you don't go in their area.
Yeah. When removed from the SCP's area of influence, affected animals immediately enter a vegetative state. This vegetative state is reversed when said animals return into the SCP's area of influence. So now let's get to the comment section.
What a strange non-SCP.
What do you mean it is an SCP? Because this really happened.
There's not really anything going on with it, though, you know? Kind of exists.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, we're in the comments. What am I looking for here? You mean the comments of our last video? I thought you meant
we don't need to give this one a rating. Let's just go. Let's go to the next bit.
No, this one is probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10.
Okay. I started drawing glyphs in the sky.
This one has a lot. I'm going to downvote this as well, because it's not that good.
This guy.
Actually, no, I won't downvote it. It's Series 1, and you were like 15. I'll let it go.
For everything I've done for him, this is how arrogant he's become.
Arrogant? This wasn't a good
he's
one.
Downvoting.
I mean, you were 15. What do you want me to say? You were.
They'll ban me if you downvote me.
No, they won't.
They will. They've been looking for an excuse to get rid of Tanhony for years. Not really.
All right. Anyway, let me get to the comments. Why would they get rid of you? If SCP got rid of you, what would be left? Hippo. That's it.
That's all they need.
That's all they need is Hippo. Alright, let's open episode 63, Internet Trolls, up. Alright. What time are we at? Do we have enough time to read all these?
Yeah, we do. We have quite enough time. We have 20 minutes.
Langlim says, if you were reading this, then Tan has finally tried to silence me. I don't have much time. Heed my final message.
Okay, I'm still using my telepathy.
Message intercepted. Small Micro Raptor says, I did it! I watched them all! Ah!
Now watch this one. It's 3 a.m. time.
He's already reached the end by the time he heard this. What? What'd you say?
It's 3 a.m. time for your next Discovering SCP episode.
TD Snyder says, by the time the next episode releases, I'll have a new job. I hope it'll allow me to continue listening during the day. That's right, you mentioned you listen at work. Well, I hope you do, but even if you don't, no pressure, obviously. You just have to listen in when you go to sleep. Yeah. But, no, seriously, hopefully the new job goes well for you, man. Yeah. The Hellion Revisited says, Cameron, so you're the good guys? Interview, SCP-2845 ritual goes on in full tilts. Interview, yeah. I don't know what 2845 is.
The deer, the fucked up ritual.
Oh, yeah. I still can't get over, now every time I think about rituals, I'm going to think of the child. That's so funny. Brink Frost Donor says, I love Tanhony's responses. Why does the sun look closer? Don't worry about it. What is going to happen with it? Let's find out. Oh, and you pronounced it right. It's pronounced donor. It just has an ER. Nice.
I don't remember what that scene. Oh, your name. Yes.
Yeah. The Great Hippo says WTFS TFU from video game violence is just me when I was 15. Also,
almost a
Hippo,
third of your life ago.
I'm glad you're still listening, unless you're like someone pretending to be the Great Hippo, which would be not cool, but I'm pretty sure it's
that'd be insane.
What?
It'd be insane. I don't think, as good a writer as Hippo is, I don't think they have the celebrity status to warrant imposters.
Oh, meanwhile, you with Mr. Hazardous Toast and the King's
Yeah, that doesn't count, because that's not someone impersonating me, that's me impersonating other non-existent people.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the cockiest thing you could do is like impersonate someone else to be like, let's see if people still notice it's me.
Oh.
No, I'm not talking about you. I just mean in general. I know you're doing it to simply pull the wool over my eyes.
I'm like Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, from my favourite show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, you're like Hermione.
I'm not like Hermione. I'm like Hermione if she was in a better book series. Ooh.
Ooh, got him. Cell, who has who's that guy, the water pillar from Demon Slayer? What's his name?
Giyu?
Giyu. Yeah, they have a Giyu picture. I have only found this podcast last week, but have been binging ever since. Keep it up, guys. These podcasts are amazing. Boy, I can't wait for y'all to read Ouroboros Cycle one day. It's gonna be fun.
We've said we're not going to do it, but we've sort of started doing it anyway. I just haven't let Darnell know.
I made a promise on the stream as a joke if we ever hit 100 subs that I would do it.
100?
I'm retracting that No, 100,000. Sorry.
But, I was like, I've got bad news.
That promise.
Okay, but
after learning how long it is.
Don't worry, everyone. I'll figure something out because a lot of people want to see it. So we keep saying we're not going to. We're probably
no. I don't mind reading it eventually, but the promise I made was I would read it all in one go on live stream until it was done.
Not in all in one go.
How long it was. Yeah. I don't care if we read it, just not all at once. That's the promise I'm retracting. Because I didn't realize just how long it really was. It's like many, many hours.
The morning of our promise is still distant.
Graphically says, Darnell, you should definitely travel to more than the UK. Come to Australia when the world is less chaotic. It might also help with your Aussie accent smile. I was just doing a Billy Butcher, and I messed it up, alright?
Well, fucking diabolical.
Fucking diabolical.
That's like Irish.
Welcome to Australia, mate. Welcome to Australia, mate. We got snakes and spiders and whatnot. And be careful for the drop bears. Haha, quirky. Have you ever been to Perth before?
Keep going.
Oh, what's all that? That's just British.
Yeah, you coming back.
Aye. It's weird because every time I do Australia, I just end up doing British, but like not even a good British.
It's like
also, congrats. Also, yeah, just like a crankier British person. Also, congrats on the 800 subscribers. Thanks, mate.
No problem.
For Tan, what's the longest you've spent on SCP? If the answer, what?
I said no problem when they said congrats on 100 subscribers.
The fuck? For Tan, what's the longest you have spent on an SCP? If the answer happens to be 5,000, what is the longest you have spent on an SCP that isn't 5,000?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't remember this stuff. This is probably embarrassing. Probably the imposter is Sus 2.
But like he's asking how many days or like how many.
I don't know. It took me a couple of weeks to like go over that because
I know for a fact that you at least mentioned it to me on one day, part 2 that is, and then it was done 3 days later from that point. So it was at least 3 days. I write
very quickly, yeah. So I honestly can't remember. Probably there is a case where no, I'm gonna tell a lie. The fucking duck took me a year.
What is it?
The duck.
The duck? Okay.
I was going to say,
you usually write within the span of a day or a couple days. I'm the same way. I genuinely... And I mean, obviously, if you're writing a really long article or a book, it's a different story. But, like, for, like, your average SCP article length, it all... Like, I know they're longer now, but you know what I mean? Like, say, Series 1 or 2, whatever. I'm always surprised when people are like, yeah, I've been working on this SCP for 12 months. Or, like...
Yeah, even with me, it was a matter where I started writing the duck, went on a brief hiatus for a year, came back and finished writing and then posted it. So was
that the duck from the well episode? The one that's like really long?
Yeah, so it's not like a case where I was continually writing it for a year.
Right. That's always what I imagine when people are like, I've been spending over 2 years writing this. I imagine they just keep picking it up and dropping it rather than like 2 years straight of writing. Yeah, that's too much. Oh, sorry. For Darnell, if you could live in a manga anime world as one of the common folk, which one would it be? None, because the common folk don't have it good in almost any anime or manga. Assuming you mean
Titan, because he's in Tavor.
No, I'm not in Tavor, and I don't want to be eaten. Actually, you know what? I would pick a world with lots of monster girls. That's what I would pick. I'd pick a world with tons of monster girls. That'd be the one.
Well, why?
Because I like monster girls.
You heard it here first. Let's get to the next one.
What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to draw
Darnell, if you could... Oh, sorry. Naturally says, week 4 of trying to let the boys, he capitalized it like the show. No, I too binged this whole series and I'm about halfway through Mori, cries. Between finals, poor timing, and YouTube just eating my comments, I guess I missed the wave of new friends this week. But I just wanted to say, as a gal who always had some interest in SCP, but was rather intimidated by 6,000 articles, I really appreciate Tan's curated choices and Darnell's fresh eyes, and just incredible voice acting. I didn't even add that, I swear to God, that's written in there. I can't wait to join Darnell in first reactions to that SCP. No, Tan, I won't apologize, for I saw through your clever ruse. Well, I'm glad you've been enjoying the podcast, buddy. And if you aren't already, and everyone for that matter, y'all should jump in the Discord and you can meet other fellow SCP
hydrokinesis to freeze the water you're drinking as you listen to the podcast. Meaning that you've got a glass of water stuck to your face now, and you look quite silly. Sorry, Malfoy.
I love this bit that you just heard. Can someone please draw, like, really aggressive Tanhony Hermione?
The most cursed image I've already pictured in my head.
Like the Tanhony with, like, the Hermione hair holding a wand with a robe on.
But, like, also aggressive, like, angry.
Yeah. A bush from the island of Borneo. Wait, weren't they from a different island last time we read this, or am I misremembering?
I don't know.
Howdy! I do feel a little bad about spoiling an SCP you may or may not have planned to read in the future. Just a little. And, I'm sorry, so here are 4 humorous Series 6 articles to read. SCP-5909, 5083, 5266, and 5648. Enjoy!
Thanks, I've already forgotten them.
Yeah, see, the numbers just go in one ear out the other for me,
They mean nothing. I'm sorry.
Comedy Man Kelp says, whenever Tanhony says don't worry about it, that's a good sign. You should probably be worried.
Whether Tanhony is sus.
Whenever Tanhony says there's an author, you just shouldn't trust him, and you should go to the bottom of the page.
Yeah, when I'm very quick to give you the author's name, it's a good bet that I just made it up as I was.
It's HazardousToast, by the way. Before you ask. Okay.
King of the Tower. That one was too lame.
Yeah. All right. Well, I still haven't forgiven you, by the way. Whiteguard's my new best friend. Whiteguard TC says, very cool episode from some very cool people. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but gonna recommend 3300, The Rain Again. It's one of my personal favorites. It is always a pleasure to see this podcast appear in my notifications. Keep it up, fellas.
Thank you.
Thanks. And then Twisted GD replied, Vouch! 3300 goes hard! So, I don't know, maybe we have to read that. Steve-O says, hello, internet troll here. Also, I was sad today because, like that other viewer, I have a lot of overtime and had to come in on a Saturday. But then I remembered you guys released today, so I was happy. Yeesh. Thanks, DSCP. Problem, buddy.
This is like Goofy the end.
I love... Well, gosh, hello, internet troll here.
Like
also, I was
Goofy.
sad today. Because like that other viewer, I have a lot of overtime and I had to come in on a Saturday. But then I remembered you guys released today, so I was happy. Yes. Thanks, DSCP. How's that? Is that good, Goofy?
Yeah.
Alright, are you happy now?
No, actually, I'm pissed off that you violated Goofy's copyright. There's steam coming from my skin because I'm so angry.
Good Day says, my reading recommendations are the stories from the AIAD canon, as well as some... Oh my god, this is just too many acronyms. UIU or GOC articles. Alright, well I know the latter two. I think we've already done the latter two a bit. At least GOC, right? Maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe we just read things with the GOC in them. Because I know that like some canons have like their own pages, like Parawatch, right? They aren't like SCP. Chaos Corvid says, the proper way to write the mortar scene would have been, the shell exploded upon impact with the mortar, since mortar, referring to the shell, is slang for the most part, and I just don't see the SCP using slang in official documentation. Well,
interesting. Right,
that's great.
You're probably right.
Insert clever name here says, finally, Bright Proposal 2, Nightmare Hour. I can't wait for an 05 to talk about how cool he is again. Also, this comment is 100% serious, and if you don't actually read Bright's proposal again, I will unsubscribe and dislike all of your videos.
I agree. I think if we read it again, now that we have higher IQs, we would understand it better.
Maybe we would just understand it better, yeah, because it's so good. We just didn't get it last time, like that one viewer.
I didn't realise that it was part of the SCP wiki. I thought it was unrelated, like, fiction.
A random story. We should do that one day, just like read random articles and be like, wait, this isn't an SCP article, this is by the New York Times.
This is by Willie Shakes, it's called Macbeth. Let's get into it.
Willie Shakes. What the fuck? What are some other like fun ways to abbreviate classic authors like their casual friends?
Jane Aussie.
Who?
Jane Aussie.
Jane Aussie? Or Jane Osborne?
No, Jane Austen.
Oh yeah, Jane Austen. Jane Austen. Shythalia says, SCP Foundation dealing with reality benders. Lock them up, don't care if they get depressed or whatever, lol. GOC dealing with reality benders. Haha, gun go brrrr. No, brrrr. That's the noise I meant to make. Brrrr. You like that? Brrrr. Yeah. Maybe it's more like a brrrr. Brrrr. Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then some idiot left a comment named Darnell. I don't know who that is. Quaker Button, though, says, Project Montauk isn't a Frank Miller comic. It's a Hellblazer comic from the 80s that got banned from reprints. I don't know enough about comic books to get that joke. Do you know, Tan?
Let me take a closer look.
Are you Googling?
No, I'm reading Quaker Button Knows His Mind. I also don't really get it. Because I make fun of Frank Miller, but I've not read much of his work apart from The Dark Knight Returns.
Who is Frank Miller?
He's a comic book writer and artist.
What did he write?
The Dark
Daredevil,
Knight
Dark Knight Returns, Sin City. Oh, he writes like the edgy ones.
Yeah, he's an edgy guy. He sort of lost it.
You know who I really like? I have to look up the name so I don't mess it up, but yeah, Brian Lee O'Malley, the guy who wrote Scott Pilgrim. He's good.
Nice.
Sorry, this is really awkward when like you don't respond. I'm not sure what to say. Have I gone too far by talking about my favorite comic author?
Yeah, I'm actually super mad.
Sorry.
And actually, I take out my wand and point it at you. Wingardium Leviosa, I actually say. And you go fucking upside down.
Oh god, I better get through the rest of these comments quickly.
Hagrid, kill him!
Thought Experiments and other stuff says, week, what is it? 4 of that. Alright, you know what? I'm tired of reading these week whatever comments. I'm not reading this one. Actually, I will, but that's a warning for the future. Yeah, this is the last one. Week, what is it? 4 of asking the boys to /read SCP-5555 and... Wait, I've already read 5555, haven't I?
No.
That's the one you wrote. That's like the notepad.
No.
Really?
No,
Let me
it's
double
not.
check just
it's
to
not.
see if
I'm telling you right now, it's not.
Okay, I believe you. Okay, I'm not looking. He says, Darnell is so sweet and innocent, but also a long-term reader of SCP. Oh, and Gombi Chimpanzee War R18 Plus War Crimes Edition. And then he also replied, you guys don't read the comment replies.
Oh, really? We don't?
Video game DLC to the Gombe chimp.
We don't?
Really,
what are we reading right now? What do you...
Thought Experiments? Thought Experiments, you should also join the Discord, because you've been pretty regular in the comments. You should pop in and meet everybody.
What the fuck was that noise I just made?
I don't know, could you do it again?
It feels like I'm like an alien in a fucking Star Wars cantina scene.
I'm just imagining an alien going like crazy in Star Wars, like
jumping in Luke's face.
So we need to track down the Millennium Falcon, and some guy's like
just jumps out the crowd like and goes in his face.
Yeah. Anomalous Writer says, this episode is indeed a certified banger. Yes, at least Tanhony's mispronunciations don't lead to unintended swearing like bitch. It's a bitch. Can't say that word.
I just did. Nothing
Grabbed
you can
his
say.
throat and slammed you into the wall. Don't you know it's 2021?
I thought I could
say bitch unless it's in reference to yourself.
Hagrid, kill him! Hagrid comes out of his hut, grabs you by the skull, and crushes it with his
oi.
hand.
Why you got Hermione by the throat?
He grabs you by the skull.
Also looks
and
like the
crushes
Yoko
your
Taro
fucking
face.
Skull. And he goes,
Hagrid also looks like
that.
you.
I shouldn't have done that.
Just every Harry Potter character is you, like with different hair and clothes and size. Harry Potter. Twisted GD writes, I haven't checked the video or the description, but oh boy, I really hope this isn't an episode based on Gamers Against Weed. Edit. Thank fucking God. What's Gamers Against Weed?
Don't worry about it yet.
Okay. Is it like a bad thing?
No, it's a great thing.
Oh. Well, anyways, it looks like we've come to the end of the comments, so now it's time to fight to the death.
Okay, but you don't realise that actually I cut you into pieces 60 minutes ago, but my blade was so smooth and so sharp that you just realise now.
Actually, idiot, just check your stomach. It's not there anymore. I
Oh.
punched a hole through it.
Really? With these fingers, I hold up a bag with your fingers in them.
Fingers, you fool. Those are my knives. They shoot out at you automatically with Musazi's thrusters.
Oh, you thought that was my skin you were stabbing? Sorry, that was a cloth I bought from the vendor. And actually, it's made of solid steel.
You thought my knives couldn't pierce through steel? If you look closely, they're all heated to 1,000 degrees. What the fuck? Why does our last episode have 3 dislikes?
Okay,
I just realized.
bring the viewers here. We'll question them.
Are we doing something wrong? I can't tell if we genuinely have trolls or if we've done something wrong. We're getting a lot of dislikes recently.
That's because
Makes me sad.
we're suffering from success.
Is that actually what's going on? I don't know. I can't tell if it's a dedicated troll or if we're
don't
just
know.
making bad content.
In order to combat the
That makes me
trolls,
really sad,
don't
though.
forget to hit the like button.
Please, I need it. I'm sad now.
If we get 3
Give me a
dislikes
smile.
on this video, I'll kill everyone. Thank you
What's
for listening
going
to
on?
Discovering
Somebody please
SCP.
explain it to me.
Please, guys. We don't ask for much apart from you watching and liking all our videos, but we need your help.
And
this
joining our
time.
Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord, and don't forget to press the little bell button next to the.
Yeah,
with the
and
subscription.
also if you would like to send us your credit card number, the 16 numbers on the front.
Don't
and
forget the
3
3 on the back.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. This is for any law enforcement listening. That was a joke that Darnell just said, and if it wasn't a joke, I would like to know that I was not involved.
It was a joke. Don't do that, please. I'm clarifying now it's a joke.
Okay, it was a joke. This whole thing's a joke. This isn't even a real podcast.
The
Wake up.
podcast is a
Wake
joke.
up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.